Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing part 2 of my UNHAUL series. If you missed part 1, I will link it down below. Basically, I am going through my entire book collection and I am refreshing everything. I am going through every single book that I have and deciding if it's something that I want to keep, if it's something that I want to get rid of. In the first part, we tackled my big bookshelves and I got rid of over 160 books. So today we are going to be tackling this shelf behind me. This is where I keep the most of my romance books, but throughout the time it has kind of evolved into me just throwing a lot of random books up on here. I do feel like I might be getting rid of a lot of books from this shelf because I have been going through kind of like a romance refresh in my reading taste where I'm really figuring out what I like in romance and what I don't like, and I am certain that I have a lot of books on here that are just not to my taste anymore. I actually just did a tier ranking video where I tier ranked all of the romance books that I read in the past 3 years. Also, I just wanted to quickly mention there is one book from part 1 that I got so many comments about, of people telling me, you have to keep this book, you cannot unhaul it, it is amazing. And I was so surprised, and that was Foundry Side. So to everyone who commented that I needed to keep this book, I am keeping it. You have convinced me. I didn't know how many people love this, but I am excited to read it now, so it has been saved, okay? Everyone who convinced me, you did a great job. So if there's anything you see in this video that I decide to get rid of that you feel so passionately about that I need to keep, let me know. You might change my mind. So if you want to keep watching and see this whole unhaul process, we are going to get started and head up to the first shelf, which is very, very high up here. I'm gonna have to be on my tippy toes for this one. All right, so starting up here, we have Mothtown. This was an arc that I got that I haven't read yet, but it sounds really good. It's like a psychological horror. I would still like to read this, maybe during like Summerween. Summer and Bird. This is another one. I don't know much about this, but I found it in a used bookstore and I really loved the cover and it did sound interesting, so I still want to read that. The Merry Spinster. This is a collection of horror short stories and it's another one that I think I'm saving for Summerween. I feel like this would be a good one. It's like fairy tale inspired horror stories. Till Death Do Us Part. This is a cozy fantasy that sounds so good. I did DNF it because I wasn't liking the audiobook narrator, but it is something that I would like to try physically reading. Bitterthorn. This is a sapphic dark fantasy that sounds so good. I really want to read this soon. It is very high up on my TBR. These two books are the next two in the Half a Soul series, which I really enjoyed. They're like cozy Regency fantasy romances, and I really liked book 1, so I want to read the others. This whole series by Karina Halley. This is the Experiment and Terror series, which I have read the first 4 books. It's a very long series, but these are like paranormal ghost investigative series with like a romance in it, and I really enjoyed this. Tears of Tess by Pepper Winters. This is a dark romance that, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if this is gonna be my thing. We will have to pull it down and look at it, but I already see the words kidnapped, drugged, and stolen, and I can tell you that's not my kind of dark romance. The Dare by Harley Laroux. I have read it and I didn't love it. It's just a very like spicy menage reverse harem situation. I don't know that I was obsessed with it. The Never King I will be keeping. I am trash for this series. This series is not good, but I love it, and you will pry it from my cold dead hand. Bullseye by Monica James. This is another dark romance that I think I will pull off. I think a lot of the dark romances that I have we're gonna go through because I have now discovered what I like and don't like in dark romance, and so a lot of the ones that I have, I don't know if they're gonna be for me anymore. Amor by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I have had this book for like 10 years and I've never ever made the attempt to read it, so I think it's time to maybe finally let it go. Love in the Wild by Emma Castle. This is a Tarzan romance that I didn't like, so we can pull this one off. Ringmaster by Brianna Hale. This one I do want to read. It's a circus romance that sounds really good. The Siren. This one I'm gonna pull off because I tried to read it and I was not liking the writing style. I wasn't liking the audiobook narrator. I don't know if this was for me. Polaris Rising. This is a sci-fi romance book that I do really want to try. Have and to Hoax. This is a historical romance that does sound very interesting to me. I think it's like a marriage in trouble. Dragon Shadow. This is the second book, actually. This one, Heartstone. And I think the third book was on my other shelf in the other unhaul. All my books are mixed up, okay? I'm gonna be keeping these. I loved book 1 and book 2, and I need to read the 3rd one. Go Deep by Rosie Adams. I really loved this. This is one of my favorite romance novellas. White Whiskey Bargain by Jodie Slaughter. I'm gonna keep this. I really liked this one. It's an arranged marriage, and that's just like one of my favorite tropes. Heartbreak Warfare. I think I'll keep this one. I have heard that it is like similar to Still Beating, so I do want to try it at some point. Sail Stay by Corinne Michaels. I don't even really remember what this one was about, so I'll pull it down and we can take a look. Hot Asset by Lauren Lane. This is another one. I don't really know what this is about. This is another Tiffany Rees book. I'm gonna pull this one down. I think I'm getting rid of all of her books that I have. Parallel by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This book actually has had like a total rebrand with a new cover and a new author name also, and it sounds really good. I do really want to read it, so I'll hold on to that. The Surviving Trace by Calla Reed. This one I read and I really loved, and I'm obsessed with this cover. It's so beautiful. Parker by Jack Carbon. I've also read. This is a male romance that I really love. And then we have this whole Bergman Brothers series by Chloe Lees. I've read the first 2 books. I need to read the rest of the series, but I will be keeping those as well. Here is the stack that I pulled off of that first shelf. I have 9 books that I pulled off. Out of these, I have read 2 of them, and I will be getting rid of both of these books. This one was a Tarzan romance that I just thought was boring, and then The Dare was fine. This is basically just smut with no plot. I don't need a physical copy of it. Also, it's about clowns. I don't know if I mentioned that before. It's about a girl and a bunch of guys who dress up as clowns. So yeah, it was a thing. I do think that this novella has been turned into like a longer series with like very long books, and I'm like, I don't know what the plot could be in those. I think they're called Losers, and they're like 500-page books. I think there's like a few of them, and I really don't know what the plot of those could be, because was there plot in here? Not really. And I don't need to read any more about clowns, you know? So then I have 7 that I'm not sure about. I don't really remember what the plots of these are, but I feel like they're not my vibe in romance anymore. This one is about a circus. I don't know. I've owned this for literally so long. I don't think I'm gonna ever read it. Like, let's be honest. Bullseye by Monica James. This one I think is a dark romance about revenge, which I could be into. It kind of depends. Okay, for 12 long years, I breathed. I bled for only one thing. Revenge. That one night changed the lives of so many and taught me that monsters are real. I hate dark romance synopses. They're so dramatic, but I also learned I'm the biggest monster of them all. Okay, this one, I don't know, this one doesn't sound terrible. Okay, I will say the trigger warning in the beginning is kind of annoying. It says, content warning, Bullseye is a dark romance. It includes possible triggers and some dark and disturbing scenes. Okay. Thanks for the warning. You can give us a little more. Possible triggers. It's like a riddle. It's like, it possibly maybe has some potential triggers in it. Like, tell me what they are. I don't know. I'll keep it. I'll give it a try. Maybe read like a chapter. Here's a Tess I will be getting rid of. I just know I will. Tess is forced into a world full of darkness and terror, captive and alone. Will her new owner change her life forever? No. Okay, see, this content warning I can get behind, because it says, it's not suitable for people sensitive to grief, slavery, and non-consensual sex. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna put it in the pile. Not the riddle of, if you look closely, when the moon and the tides are right, there might be a trigger. We have The Rose. Okay, it sounds like this is about a woman who works in the art world, and she's gifted this, like, ancient Greek cup that can grant her most intimate sexual fantasies. And she's immersed in erotic myth so vivid it seems real. I don't know about that. Oh my god. She's having sex with Achilles? Wait a minute. I just opened up to a page where she's having sex with Achilles and he says, "You take my cock well." Wait a minute. Oh my god. Patroclus is there too? Hold on. Is she having sex with just like Greek mythology? Zeus, you know? Hercules. Okay, I think actually I'll keep this. So what it sounds like is she is just going on an imaginative sexual fantasy with all of these Greek mythology characters. Let's keep it. Hot Asset by Lauren Lane. No. Automatically no. He fought hard for a career on Wall Street. Did he? Did he? Or was he just a Nepo baby? Every woman who knows him falls to his feet. No. No, thank you. Sail Stay. This book I've always thought is funny because the model on the cover is from Survivor. So I'm gonna say a no on that one. And then this book, The Siren, this is actually the same author as The Rose. However, I do remember trying to read this and I really did not like what I read of it, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. So from that pile, I'm saving 2 books. A book with maybe some triggers, and a book where she has sex with Hercules and Achilles and Zeus, and I don't know who else. We'll find out. I'm hoping maybe like a Aphrodite is in there, maybe an Athena, a Medusa. All right, now moving down to this shelf. This shelf and a lot of the rest of the shelves are actually double stacked, and there's books behind them, so there's a lot more books on the shelf than it looks like. We will start down here. I think this is like the Never After series by Emily McIntyre, which I'm still making my way through. They're all like retellings, and I want to keep this, so I will just move that one up to the top. When We Lost Our Heads, this is a sapphic historical fiction book that sounds so good to me, like about unhinged women, so I will definitely be keeping that. The Enchanted Hacienda, this one I read and I gave like 3 stars. I didn't really like it, so we'll pull that one off. We're keeping this. This isn't even up for debate. This is one of my all-time favorite romance books. Actor H.G. Brown, same with this one. This is one of my favorite Talia Hibbert books. You Again, this is another favorite romance of this year. Iron Widow, I read this recently and loved it. 5 stars, amazing. The 13th Tale, this one I have not read, but I do really want to read this soon. I've heard good things about it. Also, can I take off this sticker? No, that will take a little more work. Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. This is a cozy fantasy that sounds really good. I actually think this might be on my 2024 TBR, like the top books that I want to read this year. The Wisteria Society for Lady Scoundrels. This one I've heard mixed things about, but I would like to try it. It's another like cozy fantasy romance. This one, Dial A for Aunties, is a cozy mystery that I really would like to try. This is the sequel to Radiance, so we're obviously keeping that. Okay, now we have all of these books. King of Wrath, King of Pride, King of Greed. I haven't read any of these yet, so I would like to at least read the first one before I decide if I want to keep the series. So we will save that. Butcher and Blackbird, I will be keeping. I loved this book. This was a 5 star. The Serpent and Wings of Night. I haven't read this one yet. I do really want to. I kind of just feel like the hype has put me off a little bit, intimidated me a little bit, so I don't know when I will be getting to that. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I really loved this one, so I will be keeping that. Then we have all of these Sarah Kate books, which I will be keeping because I love this series. Then I have Wolf Gone Wild and Don't Hex and Drive, which are some paranormal romances that I really love, so I will be keeping those. I moved all the books I'm keeping up to this top shelf for now. Hopefully we're gonna start clearing out some room in this shelf that I can put things not double stacked. Now starting on the back row, we have Wolf Song by TJ Klune, which I would really like to read. Daughter of No World by Carissa Broadbent. I really liked this book, so I will be keeping that. First Girl Child by Amy Harmon. This one I'm going to keep. This is a fantasy romance that I've always had my eye on. Heart of the Fae, I will also be keeping. This is another fantasy romance, which I feel like I don't read enough fantasy romance, despite the fact that I do think it's one of my favorite genres. I'm just very picky with it. Bewitched, I will be getting rid of. I actually DNF'd this book. I just really did not like it at all. Which brings us to the rest of our Laura Thalassa collection here. The Fallen World. This is a complete series, which I have not read this one yet. I do want to. I think it's like a post-apocalyptic romance series, which sounds very good. So I at least want to read part of this before I decide if I want to keep that or not. Same with The Bargainer. I have not heard the best things about this series. I want to at least try the first book before I decide if I want to get rid of it. Now, I will be keeping both sets of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse series that I have. I love this series. I've read all 4 books. I love them all. Honestly, except for book 2. Book 2 is the only one that I did not really like. But the rest of it I love and I will be keeping. Then we have A Lady of Rook's Grave Manor by Catherine Moon. This is a monster romance that I really enjoyed, so I will be keeping that. And then another Catherine Moon, Games with the Orc, is another monster romance. I really want to read this one soon. It actually just recently came out on audiobook. Then we have Lauren Luss, which are, I think, cozy vampire romances, so I really want to read these. Also, I think the artwork on these covers is beautiful. Then we have my whole Grace Draven collection here. Actually, her books are kind of all mixed up throughout my shelves, but I will be keeping all of them. She's my favorite fantasy romance author. I've read these 3. The Undying King I have not read yet, but I will. Which actually, let me just put these 2 Grace Draven books in here with the other ones, so they all are together. King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. I read this, I did not really like it, so we'll pull that one off. A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. I haven't heard great things about this, honestly, so let's pull that one down. Guild by Raven Kennedy. I'm also gonna pull this one off. Promise of Darkness. I think that this one's a like Hades and Persephone fantasy romance, so I do want to keep that. It sounds really good. A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain. This is a monster romance that just sounds really, really good to me. I've really been wanting to read that. Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. I've read and really liked Elise Kova books, so I want to try this one. Also, cover's beautiful. From that shelf, I only took off 5 books. 3 of them I read already and I didn't like. These 2 were like 3 stars. They weren't like terrible, but they were kind of boring. And then Bewitched, I DNF'd. I really did not like this book. I'm just gonna get rid of all of those. And then of the 2 that I haven't read, I think I'm gonna get rid of both of these. I have liked K.A. Tucker's contemporary romances, but I don't know, nothing about this has sounded interesting to me. And I think when it comes to fantasy romance, I have realized that I prefer fantasy romance that is like soft and romantic, written more in the style of historical romance. That's why I love Grace Draven so much, because I feel like she does that so well. That's the kind of fantasy romance I prefer versus honestly anything with a title that's like a blank of blank and blank. It's just not my thing. And then we have Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series, which I've heard good things about the series, but every single person who talks about this says that the first book is terrible and then you have to get through the first book to get to the rest of it, and I'm like, no, I simply will not. What do you mean? I have to read a whole book that's bad just to maybe get to a book I like? Absolutely not. This next shelf we're actually gonna skip because this is a shelf that I recently set up of a bunch of backlist books that I want to read soon. So every book on here is a book that I'm still very interested in reading that is high up on my TBR. So none of these are books that I will be unhauling. We'll just sit here for a second. You could take a little look at what I have here. There's a big mixture of books. Thursday Murder Club, Jane Eyre, Two Twisted Crowns. We have Reckless down here, some things that I want to reread, some series I want to continue. These are all like high up on my TBR. Most of the books on this shelf are by the same authors. We have a lot of Sierra Simone, Nikki Sloan, and then all of these are Sophie Lark. We'll start over here with the Sierra Simone books. These are the first 3 books I actually don't know what this series is called, but I read the first book and I did really like it, and I've always wanted to finish the series. Then we have Misadventures with the Professor, which I'm actually going to pull this one off because I want to see what the age is. Like, is this high school? Is this college? I don't know, because I actually have learned I don't like student-teacher romances. Then we have the American Queen trilogy, which I'm pulling this off because I read this first book and it's one of the worst romance books I've ever read in my life, so we're taking all of this down. Then we have this series, which is the Priest, Sinner, Saint series. I read the first 2 books. The first one I didn't really love. I gave this one 3 stars. Book 2 I loved, and then I really want to read book 3, so I'm gonna keep all of those. I also don't know what this one is called, but it's by Nikki Sloan. I read the first 2 books and I love them, and then this is book 3. Also, book 4 is up there. I put it on the other shelf because I did want to read that one soon, but I'll just put it back with the others. And then we have The Initiation by Nikki Sloan, which I read and I liked. I don't know, like the series was fine. It's not something I feel like I need to hold on to. Oh, it's signed. Okay, yeah, let's take this one down because I feel like I could find somebody else who loves that book and really wants a signed copy. Okay, now we get into all of the Sophie Lark books that I have, which, based on my collection of Sophie Lark books, you would think she's one of my favorite romance authors. I bet she's not. A lot of her books I got sent by publishers. We have these 4 books, which are all in the Brutal Birthright series. I've actually read all 4 of these, and I do really like this series, so I'm going to keep those. I like these covers too, which this series is the same as this one down here. These are just all the original covers. Now that I have the other ones, I don't think I need both. So we're gonna pull these down. Then I have There Are No Saints and There Is No Devil. This is her serial killer series, and I really, really like these covers. I also have the regular ones. So I think I'm gonna get rid of these and keep these, which again, I didn't purchase all of these twice. These were all sent to me from the publisher when they were republished traditionally, and then I just have the original versions. Ivan, I will be keeping. I haven't read this one yet. I will also be keeping this whole series right here, which is her Kingmaker series. This is supposed to be like Mafia Hogwarts, and I just love how these spines look, like the neon signs. I'm obsessed with. That cleared off a lot of room. I did not need all of these duplicate copies. From this shelf, I pulled off 13 books. Out of those 13, I have read 6 of them. So I'm gonna be getting rid of The Initiation by Nikki Sloan. Like I said, I read this whole trilogy. I only have the first book. I enjoyed it, but I don't need this copy, and it also is signed, so I feel like someone else might really love it. Then I will be getting rid of American Queen, along with the 2 that I have not read, American Prince and American King. I recently did a collab on Sarah from Sarah Without an H's channel where we read very cursed forbidden romances, and this was the book that I read, and when I tell you, it is the worst romance I've ever read. It was so bad. It's 2016. In the US, the presidential election is happening, and Miss Sierra Simone said, I know what to do to bring the nation together. Breaks out a belt and he goes, whack, 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 and she keeps going, it hurts, and they go, shh. I'll link that video if you want to go watch it. It is very funny. We roasted the books that we read to hell and back. I will not be continuing the trilogy. So I'm gonna get rid of all 3 of those. Then I will be getting rid of the entire Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark because, like you saw, I have the newly like republished covers and I prefer those. I don't need these. They're also like, they're insanely heavy. I don't know what it is about her books that are, you could work out with this. This is heavy. Then I will also be getting rid of There Are No Saints duet, again because I have the newly republished covers to them. Okay, then I have Misadventures with a Professor by Sierra Simone. Oh my god, it's also signed. Why do I have so many signed books? Because I never go meet authors to get them signed. I really hate student-teacher romances, so let's see. I can be convinced. Just all the ones I have read I think are gross. Zandy never planned on going to grad school a virgin. Already not starting off great. So when her professor father finds her a job abroad as a research assistant, the summer before she starts her master's program, she sees her chance. She's got one night in London to lose her V card to a Mr. Darcy lookalike. Okay. And then he's, yeah. Well, I know where this is going. Oh. I opened up to a page. Are you a bad girl? Yes. Yes, I am. First spank, I squeal, my body arching away from the force. There's nowhere to go, nowhere except against his hot, firm body. You know what else makes this impossible? What? Listening to you come on your own hand night after night. You didn't think I don't know what you do at night, dirty girl? You think I don't know how you slip your fingers between your legs and wish it were my fingers, my mouth, my cock? Why do I keep opening up to the worst pages? Yeah. I'm gonna go with no. So I'm saving nothing from that shelf. We're just getting rid of all of it. All right, so this shelf is also double stacked, so there's a lot to get through in here. The Complete Regret Duet by Ali Martinez, which honestly I don't really know what this is or where I got it. So we will take a look at that. Liar by Fiona Cole. This is like a very steamy, like sex club romance book that I just don't know if that's my thing really anymore. All Things Burn by Jodie Slaughter. This is a dark romance about this woman who hires a hitman to kill her ex, and that just sounds really good to me, and I still would like to read this. So I'll keep that. I'll put it up there for now. Prisoner by Annika Martin and Skye Warren is a dark romance that I don't know if I will like, but I still would really like to try it and see. It's about this woman who works in a prison, and then I think one of the prisoners like kidnaps her and escapes, and I don't know. It could go either way if I like it or not. Sweet Mercy by K.A. Tucker. This is one that I'm not really sure about, so we'll pull that one off. Vibe by Liza James. This is a sapphic dark romance that I do want to try. I don't think I'm gonna like this. I think it has a bully aspect to it, which isn't my favorite, but since it is sapphic and there's so few sapphic dark romances, I do want to at least give it a try. Be Still My Heart. I think this is like a romantic suspense. It sounds very interesting to me, so I do still want to try that one. Twist Me by Anna Zaries. This one looks like a dark romance about kidnapping. Again, I don't think that's my thing. Someday Someday by Emma Scott. This one I actually don't know what it is about, so we'll look at that. Drag Me Up by R.M. Virtues. I do want to read. I think this one is like a Hades and Persephone retelling that I've heard great things about. We have all these Brittany C. Cherry books, which I do want to read. I've heard her books are very, very emotional. Always put off reading them because I'm not a big like emotional book reader, but I've heard great things about these. Gothicana, I think I'm gonna pull off. This book sounded good to me when it came out, and ever since then, it's just, I've not heard the best things about it. Restore Me by J.L. Seegers. This one sounds very good and very, very emotional. Then we have all of these Kennedy Ryan books. I've always wanted to read a Kennedy Ryan book, but again, I heard her books are very emotional, and I am allergic to tears. So I'm gonna keep the real because this is the one that I've heard the best things about. And I'm also going to keep the Kingmaker and Rebel King. I think I'm gonna get rid of Blockshot. Okay, then we have Medicine Man. This one I've always really wanted to read. It sounds very taboo. It's Ruthless Creatures. This is a mafia romance that I've heard really, really great things about. I've been recommended a lot, so I do want to keep that one. Then we have the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I actually have the original covers too, except I don't have the fourth book in the original cover. That is my dilemma because I prefer these. I think for now I'm gonna keep these three. I'll get rid of these, except I think I'll keep Twisted Lies. I'll keep Twisted Lies since I don't have that one in the other version, but I don't need both. So back here we have The Duchess War by Courtney Milan. This one I read. It's a historical romance. I don't really need a copy of it though because it was fine, and I'm not going to continue that series. Priest and Sinner. These you guys saw before. I have the other copies of, and I don't need duplicates, so I'm gonna get rid of these versions of them. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I read this. I enjoyed it when I read it. I'm now a little bit anti-Penelope Douglas. Hero by Lauren Rowe. This one I actually did really like. I don't remember it that much, but I remember that I enjoyed it, so I'll hold on to that one for now. Okay, now we have all of these Katie Robert books. So many Katie Robert books. We have this whole Wicked Villains series, which I will be keeping this series. This was how I discovered her. Then we have this series right here, which is like her Touch of Taboo series, which I loved this first one. And I think I'll keep these also. I don't know, they were fun little times. Also, the majority of the books that I have from her are signed and personalized, because I used to be subscribed to her Patreon, and she would send all of her books that she publishes to her patrons. We have this Wicked Villains shorts, which this one I don't need. It is signed, personalized to me, but like, I don't know, I don't need that. Then we have these two, which are the first two books in her Sabine Valley series, and I really liked it. And then she kind of canceled this series, and I was like, oh, okay. So I don't think I want these anymore either. Again, they're both signed and personalized to me, which makes me feel sad. This is where I kind of like lost my love for her a little bit because I felt a little, I don't know, she had so many different series going on and then like kept canceling them, and I was like, wait, but I liked that. I have Dragon's Bride. This is one of my all-time favorite covers. I love this cover. It's stunning, beautiful, so I'll keep that one. Neon Gods. This is actually an ARC. I didn't like this book, wasn't a fan, so we'll pull that one down. These are all the same book. So we have Court of the Vampire Queen. I don't know why I have two, so I'll get rid of one of them. And then Air, this is one of the stories. So Court of the Vampire Queen, before it was published like this, it was like 4 novellas, and this was one of them. So I don't need that one anymore. All right, then we have Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin, which is one of the worst romances I've read. I hate this book. I hate the man in this book. Everything about this was horrible. Violent Delights by Jessica Hawkins. This is actually one of the first dark romances that I read, or like one of the first like crime romances, and I really enjoyed it. And I do want to keep this because they don't make this cover anymore, and I think it's really pretty. Then we have Raise and Reap by Tilly Cole. These are 2 books. I read Raise and I did enjoy it. However, I don't really support Tilly Cole anymore, so we will take that off. Then I have these 2 books by Mel Jean Brooks. They are steampunk romances. I read the first one. I thought it was fine. It was okay. I don't think I'm going to continue the series, so I can take those off. Then we have this copy of Praise by Sarah Kate, which I really hate this cover. This was sent to me by the publisher, and I appreciate the gesture. However, this has been hiding in the back of my shelves for a while because I don't like it. The Lawyer by Marnie Mann. This one I don't know what it is, so we'll take a look at that. Then we have these 2 Lauren Rowe books, Bad Liar and Beautiful Liar. I've never really been drawn to these, so we'll look and see what those are about. The Wrong Heart by Jennifer Hartman. I hated this book. I really, really hated this book. Jennifer Hartman is one of my favorite romance authors, but this book was terrible. However, this is a special edition that I did kind of pay a lot of money for, so I think I'll hold on to it for now. for now. And then we have Killing Sarai and Reviving Isabel by J.A. Ramersky. These are actually the first dark romances that I ever read. It's like a 9-book series. I only own the first 2, but I love it, and I'll be keeping those. But let me move all of these books up here, down. Now I'm trying to decide, with this Twisted series back here, does it bother me that they're not matched? Does that bother me? I don't know. Do I want to keep the regular ones and get rid of these? This next shelf, I pulled off 28 books. I cannot hold them all up at once, but we got a lot. 16 of them I have already read, and I don't need to hold on to them, so we're gonna get rid of all of these. I'll also get rid of the sequel to this book, all of these Katie Robert books. So sorry to her. Okay, I'm actually having a little bit of another dilemma because I'm thinking I want to keep these and get rid of the Real People covers that I have, because I'm just starting to think, like, even though I prefer the other covers, I have the full set of this one. Like, I have all 4 in these covers. I think I am. So I will keep these and get rid of all of these. It's not like it's a favorite series of mine where I like really need to hold on to the original covers. Then I have 10 books that I haven't read and I don't really know what they're about, so we can find out. These 2 I think are part of the same duet. This one's the first one. Read fucking Rivers. I wouldn't trust a word out of the arrogant music mogul's mouth. He would say anything to get me into his bed, and I know it, but that doesn't mean I don't want him to succeed. Huh? So you wouldn't trust anything out of his mouth, but you do want him to trick you into his bed. Okay. My body craves one night of delicious fun with the yummiest man alive. He thinks he's a 34-year-old big cat on the prowl, and I'm nothing but a blushing 21-year-old field mouse with stars in my eyes. Sometimes I think I'm too gay for hetero romance. Oh, you guys, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. These are a no. The Lawyer. No, that sounds boring. Blockshot, I'm just gonna get rid of. I know I'm not gonna like this. I'm pretty sure the entire plot revolves around cheating, and from what I've heard, the person that's being cheated on is like not a bad person. I think I can only get behind cheating in a romance if like the person that's being cheated on is literally like the scum of the earth. Gothic Hana. I don't think I want this, so I'll just get rid of that. Someday. Oh my god, wait, this is a male romance? It's about a guy who is the private caretaker to the president and CEO of the largest pharmaceutical company in the world, and then he falls for the cold, distant sun. You know what? I could get behind that. Let's keep that one. Twist Me by Anna Zaries. Kidnapped, taken to a private island. I never thought this could happen to me. I never imagined one chance meeting on the eve of my 18th birthday. Now I belong to him. My captor is an enigma. No, thank you. Ew! Oh my god. Like the other 2 nights, I know I won't fight him. I will pretend to make love to him. I ask, what about protection? What if I get pregnant or something? He stops and turns towards me. There's a small smile on his lips. You won't, my pet. I accessed your medical history before bringing you here. Oh, okay, so it's all fine. He's like, yeah, I kidnapped you and I'm forcing you to have sex with me. It's all good because I looked at your medical files and you're on birth control. No, absolutely not. Sweet Mercy by K.A. Tucker. What? No. Liar by Fiona Cole. Is this another student teacher? No. The Complete Regret duet? I don't know what that is. Oh. Oh, no. It's accidental pregnancy. No. Okay, so I'm getting rid of everything except for Someday. So we're saving this one, getting rid of everything else. And then we have this last shelf here, which is also double stacked. Most of these are like contemporary romances, rom-coms. Start with these. Over here we have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I really loved this book. I really love Ashley Poston, so I will be keeping that. I give that one 5 stars. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I really love this one. I give this one 4 stars. It's not a favorite, but I did really enjoy it, so I will keep that. I have all of these Talia Hibbert books. Everything from like here over is Talia Hibbert. I've read almost all of these. The only ones I haven't read are Untouchable and Work For It, but she is one of my favorite romance authors, so I'm gonna be keeping everything except for this one, Bad for the Boss. This is actually her first ever book and it was not good. So I'll get rid of that one. This right here is actually my favorite series by her. It's the Ravenwood series. It is criminally underrated if you like small town romance. All right, then we have Kiss Her Once For Me by Allison Cochran. I have not read this one yet, but I really want to. It's a sapphic Christmas romance, so I'll probably read this next Christmas. Battle Royale by Lucy Parker. This one is like a baking romance that does sound very, very cute, so I'll hold on to that one. Well Matched by Jen DeLuca. This is part of her like Ren Fair series. I actually don't know which one this is. I read the first book, loved the first book, did not like the second book. This is book 3. So I do think I want to try this one and see if I like it. Then I have Rafe and Zenny by Rebecca Weatherspoon, who's an author that I love. I really loved both of these books, so I'll keep those. Then down here, I have this Royally Charmed series. Actually, I have a lot of these. So this is the whole series. I read the first 2 books, Royally Screwed and Royally Matched, and I enjoyed them. And then I do want to read the rest of the series. I mean, I do love royalty romances, so I do want to finish this series. Then I have The Roommate by Rosie Dawn, which I don't know if I would like this. I think I'm gonna pull this one down and look at it. Same with Twice Shy by Sarah Hogle. I have never read anything by this author, so I'm not sure about this one. What We May Be, this one I'm gonna keep. This one is like a romantic suspense, polyamorous vibe with like an FBI agent, and it just sounds really interesting. The Queer Principles of Kit Webb, I'm going to keep. I really, really love Cat Sebastian, and I've always wanted to read this one. Funny you should ask. This one I'm not sure about. I don't know. I think I'll pull this down and we can look at it. Written in the Stars, this one I read and I didn't really enjoy it. I thought it was going to be like the perfect book for me because it's a sapphic Pride and Prejudice retelling, but it was fine. Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead, I do really want to try because she's one of my favorite thriller authors and this is one of her romance books, but I haven't heard the best things about this. So, I don't know. I do want to try it before I say it's not for me. Then I have these Lucy Score books. So we have By a Thread and Things We Never Got Over. I do think I want to try Lucy Score at some point. However, if I did try her, it would be By a Thread because this is like a office rom-com vibe, which sounds really cute to me. This book does not sound good to me at all. I don't know, nothing about this one has ever intrigued me, so I think we'll pull that one off. Then we have Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding, which is a sapphic romance that sounds really, really cute. I think it's like an arranged marriage, which, as we know, is one of my favorite things. Then I have A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall, which is a historical romance that I've heard amazing things about, so I will keep that one. And then right here, I have the first 2 volumes in Lore Olympus, which I have read and I love, so I obviously will be keeping those. Okay, now we'll do this stack of hardcovers. So we have Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which I will be keeping. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This one I really, really want to read. I've been meaning to read this one for years. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. I really, really loved the other 2 books in this series, which are right here, The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test. I loved these, and I don't want this in hardback because it doesn't go with my other books. I think I lost interest in the series, so I'll pull that one down, but I will be keeping the first 2. This is a sapphic book that I really, really liked, so I will be keeping that. Well Met by Jen DeLuca, I will be keeping. I really loved this book. Then I have the 2 Emily Henry books that I own, which are Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation, and I will be keeping both of those. I read both of them. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, I will also be keeping. I have read this. Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is a historical romance that I read, and I thought it was just okay. I think I gave this one like 3 stars. It was probably more like a 2, so I will pull that one off. And then One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This one I actually really enjoyed. This one is like the show The Bachelor. However, I've not thought about this book once since I read it, and I don't know. I never talk about this. I never recommend it. I don't really think I need it. Okay, the rest of these all back here, I'm pretty sure I've read all of them. We have some Sally Thorne books, The Hating Game and 99% Mine. I don't really think I need these anymore. The Hating Game was one of the first, like, I guess modern adult romance books that I've read, and I enjoyed it, but I don't know. Sally Thorne's like not an author that I'm really like obsessed with. Then we have Christina Lauren. Actually, I have another Christina Lauren book back here. I used to have a very big Christina Lauren collection. However, I don't really like their books anymore, so I got rid of most of them. These are the 2 that I thought were fine, but again, I don't really need them anymore. I never recommend them. I never think about them or talk about them. Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I am going to keep this. It is a sapphic romance. I think I liked it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember this book that much, which it just means that I can reread it at some point. The Player Next Door by K.A. Tucker. Actually, I have a lot of K.A. Tucker books here. I'm gonna keep The Simple Wild. This is a book that I really, really loved, and I would like to reread it at some point and see if it is in fact like a favorite of mine. So I'll keep that. These 2 I thought were fine. They weren't amazing, they weren't the best, they were just okay. So we can get rid of those. Ice Planet Barbarians I will be keeping because I really love this cover and I thought this book was super fun. And then we have this stack back here. We have The Charm Offensive, which I loved. This is another book that's like based on The Bachelor and it's an MM romance and I thought it was so cute. Then we have all of these Tessa Bailey books, which I have a very love-hate relationship with Tessa Bailey. I think I'm gonna keep some of these books and get rid of some of them. I will be keeping Window Shopping. This is one of my favorite Christmas romances and I can definitely see myself rereading this. My Killer Vacation, I didn't really like. I thought it was fine. But I don't really need it. It was kind of cringy. And then this series, I really liked book 1, so I'll keep that. Book 2, I was not really a fan of, so I'll get rid of that one. Then we have The Right Swipe by Alicia Bry, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, so I will get rid of this. Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I also am not the biggest fan of. I love the movie. Love the movie. And then we have On the Island by Tracy Garvis Graves, which is another one that's from my days when I hadn't read a lot of romance, and I don't know if I would like this as much now. And then finally from this last shelf, I pulled off 20 books. 15 of them I have already read and I'm gonna get rid of because I don't feel the need to hold on to any of these anymore. From the 5 that I have not read, I'm just gonna get rid of The Heart Principle because like I said, I just don't really feel the need to finish this series. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I don't know, I feel like everything I've heard about this book just doesn't sound like my thing, and it's also so long, so we can get rid of that. Funny you should ask, I don't really love romances about like celebrities. That's just not really my thing, so I think I'll get rid of that one. Twice Shy. Oh, okay, this sounds cute. This is like a small town. She inherits a house, but it's like falling apart around her, and she isn't the only inheritor. She has to share everything with the groundskeeper, who is grouchy. Okay, that sounds cute. I'll keep that one. And then The Roommate. This one I think is about 2 people who are roommates, and then like one of them is like a sex worker. I don't think I'm super interested in this anymore. I'll get rid of that, and we're keeping Twice Shy. So from that whole shelf, I am getting rid of 71 books, and I've decided to keep these 4. So we're making amazing progress in my shelves. I just feel like they're getting so refreshed, and I'm getting rid of a lot of books that I have read, but I just don't feel an emotional attachment to, that I like need them taking up space on my shelves. And then also some books that were left on my TBR that I just don't think I'm interested in anymore. I mean, I've been collecting books now for like over 10 years. I get a lot of books all the time. I'm still figuring out who I am as a reader and what I enjoy, and there's things that I probably enjoyed last year that the me of today wouldn't enjoy as much because I'm always changing and evolving. So I've really been enjoying going through my whole collection. So there's gonna be one more episode in this unhaul, and that is gonna be me tackling my downstairs bookshelf slash all the random piles of books that I have just all over in every single room. And I didn't mention before, but I am selling the majority of these on Pango Books, so I will link my account in the description and you can go follow me on there to see when I post everything, because I am only posting books in small batches. But I hope you guys liked this video, and stay tuned very soon for the 3rd and most likely final part of this whole Unhaul With Me series. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon where I post tons of exclusive content. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!